I didn't know my daughter thought of her teacher as her real father until I heard her say to him, "Dad, will you always be here?" I'm 44. I live in Midland, Texas. I work as an engineer in an oil field. Hard work, long shifts, a lot of time away from home. I have a daughter, Sophie, who's 10. Her mother, Claire, and I split up when Sophie was 3. Not because of cheating, not because of lying, just because we fell out of love. We stayed in touch. She moved to another city, but I paid child support, came every other week, went to all the performances, art classes, Mother's Day. I'm not just a father. I'm a dad. Or so I thought. And then I heard this. It was at a school project show. Sophie was making a model of the solar system. I arrived a shift early, so I wouldn't miss it. She was standing at the table, explaining to the teacher how she had made Saturn out of foam and wire. He was Mr. Ellis, her science teacher. Kind, calm, always smiling. I respected him. He supported her when she was afraid to speak. I thanked him. And then she turned to take another piece of the model and said, "Dad, will you always be here?" I froze. She wasn't looking at me. She was looking at him. At Mr. Ellis. He smiled, put his hand on her shoulder. "Yes, Sophie. I'm here. And I'll always be there for you." She hugged him. Not as a student. Like a child finding support. I stood there, unable to breathe. Not because I was angry. And because I didn't understand. Is it just a word? Or is it choice? I walked over. "Hello, Mr. Ellis," I said. "Thank you for taking care of my daughter." "Alex," he said. "Thank you for coming. Sophie talks a lot about you. And she calls you Dad?" He paused. Not surprised. Not scared. Just looked at me, with understanding. "Yes," he said. "Sometimes. I don't correct. Not because I want to replace you. But because for her it's a way of saying, asterisk, you support me. Asterisk. But I'm her father," I said. "I paid. I came. I've been with her since she was born." "I know," he said. "And I never try to change that. But she comes to me after school. She cries when something hurts. She asks if she's pretty enough. And when she says, 'Daddy,' she's not talking about biology. She's talking about someone who won't let go." I couldn't answer. Sophie ran over. "Daddy," she said, "have you seen Saturn?" "Yes," I said. "That's great. Mr. Ellis helped me," she said. "He always helps." I looked at her eyes, at the way she looked at him, with trust, with warmth, with the same look she had when she was little. And in that moment I realized, this wasn't about betrayal. This was about someone becoming the person she needed. And I was away, physically, and maybe emotionally. A week later I called Claire. "Sophie calls her teacher Dad," I said. "Did you know?" Silence. "Yes," she said. "And I don't stop. Not because I want him to be her father, but because he's the one who's there. Every day. When you're on shift. When she's scared. When she needs someone. But I'm her father." "Yes," she said. "But a father is not just blood. It's a presence. And he's present." I hung up the phone. And I sat there, looking out the window. And I thought, can I be a father if someone else calls my daughter theirs? And I didn't know the answer. I couldn't accept her calling him Dad. Not because I was afraid of losing her, but because I was afraid that she had already lost me. I called the school counselor, Mrs. Carter. She worked with children dealing with divorce, anxiety, and self-esteem issues. I explained who I was and asked to meet, not as a blaming parent, but as someone who wanted to understand. "I don't want you to talk to Sophie about this," I said. "I just want to know, is this normal? Is she losing me? Come here," she said, "and we'll talk." I arrived 2 days later. The office is bright, with children's drawings on the walls. Mrs. Carter is calm, confident, with that look that says, "I've seen more than you think." "Do you know that Sophie calls Mr. Ellis Daddy?" I asked. "Yes," she said, "and she's not the first, and she won't be the last. But I'm her real father. I paid. I came. I've been with her since she was born. And that's important," she said. "Very important. But to a child, a father's not just someone who pays. It's someone who is there. Every day. When she cries. When she's scared. When she needs something. But I can't be there every day. I work in the field. 14-hour shifts. I come when I can." "She understands that," she said. "But understanding is not the same as feeling. She doesn't blame you. She's just looking for someone who can be there. And she found him." "Yes," she said. "Mr. Ellis is a stable figure. He is always there. He listens. He doesn't disappear for weeks. And when she calls him Dad, She doesn't say, "You are my biological father." She says, "You are my security." And me? You are her story, she said. Her past. Her beginning. But she can't feel you as here when you're not physically there. And when someone else fills that space, she gives him the word that says it most deeply. You are the one who doesn't abandon me. I fell silent. Not because I agreed, but because I understood. She didn't betray me. She simply chose the one who was there. And what should I do? Don't blame her, she said. Don't blame the teacher. And try to be closer. Not physically, that's hard, but emotionally. Talk to her about what she's feeling. Ask. Asterisk. Who helps you when you're having a hard time? Asterisk. Not to blame, but to understand. And say, I'm here, even when I'm not. I got home. Sophie was waiting. We were sitting on the porch. Are you mad at me? She asked. No, I said. But I want to know, why do you call Mr. Ellis Dad? She fell silent. Not scared, but tired. Because he's always there, she said. When I cry, when I'm teased, when I don't understand my homework, and you come, and then you disappear again. I work to have money for you, I said. For school, for sneakers, for travel. I know, she said. But money doesn't buy hugs. I couldn't speak. I just hug her, very tightly. I don't want you to lose me, I said. I'm your dad, and I love you. I know, she said. But sometimes I need someone to be there. I couldn't wait any longer. Not because I was angry, but because I had a right to know whether he was knowingly occupying the space that belonged to me. I called Mr. Ellis, not through the school. Personally, he didn't answer right away. Asked for time. He agreed to meet in a park near the school, not in the office, not in front of the children, just the two of us. He showed up in jeans and a sweater, coffee in hand. He looked at me, not defiantly, but cautiously. Thank you for coming, he said. I understand why you want to talk. I didn't come to accuse, I said. But I came to know, are you knowingly allowing her to call you Dad? Yes, he said. But not because I want to replace you. And because I don't correct someone when they call me needy. But she's my daughter. Yes, he said. And I've never forgotten that. The first time she said that word, I said, do you mean your father? She said, no. You're my dad now. And I didn't say, no, I'm not your father. Because for her, it wasn't about biology. It was about finding someone who wouldn't disappear. But I don't disappear. I work to provide for her. I know, he said. And that's important. But to a 10-year-old, Providence isn't money. It's someone who sits next to her when she can't sleep. Someone who hugs her when she cries. Someone who says, everything will be okay. Not on the phone, but in the room. I fell silent. Not because he was right, but because he was. She comes to me after school, he continued. Not every day, but often. She talks about you. How you make pancakes together. How you watch movies. How you laugh. And when she says, Dad, she doesn't erase you from her life. She just gives me a word that says, you are my support now. What if I change? What if I find a job in the city? Then maybe she'll stop calling me that, he said. Or not. But that's her choice. Not mine. I don't fight for that word. I just don't push her away when she needs it. But do you understand how painful it is? What about hearing your daughter give another man her most sacred word? Yes, he said. And I wouldn't allow myself to do that if you were there. But you're on shift, 300 miles away. And she is here. And she is crying. And she asks, does anyone love me when Daddy is far away? And I say, yes. And I am here. I sat there and couldn't figure out whether he was the enemy or the one who saved her from loneliness. When I couldn't, I don't want her to lose me, I said. I am your daddy, and I love you. I know, she said. But sometimes I need someone to be here. I didn't answer right away. I sat there, looking at the lake behind the park where the children were playing, screaming, laughing. And I understood. Mr. Ellis was not the enemy. He was the one who stood by her. Not because he wanted to pick her up, but because he saw her fall. Did you ever think of telling her, I'm not your father, I asked. Yes, he said. Several times. But every time she cried. And every time she said, but you're my father. You're not abandoning me. And I understood. If I take that word away from her, I'll take away her sense of security. And that's more dangerous than a metaphor. But she needs to know who her real father is. She knows, he said. She talks about you as her father. It's just, she uses the word twice. like two stories. One about blood, the other about presence. I fell silent, not because I resigned myself, but because I understood this is not a war for words. This is the understanding that love is not a limited resource, that you can be a father, even if you're far away, but you need to become closer. I want to change jobs, I said, to find something here, to be closer. It's not about work, he said. It's about how you talk to her. When you come, you talk about how she is studying, what grades, whether she obeys her mother. But you don't ask, what is bothering you? Who supports you? When was the last time you cried? I don't want to bother her. But she's already worried, he said. And if you don't ask, she'll think you don't care. I came home, not with a heart full of anger, but with the solid understanding. I hadn't lost her. I just hadn't heard her. A week later, I found a job with a local company. Not so good for the money, but with the opportunity to work from home. I couldn't quit working in the mine right away. There were commitments. But I agreed to a reduced schedule. Now I came every 10 days. Not for 2 days. 4. And one evening, when Sophie and I were sitting on the porch, I said, I want to know who helps you when you're having a hard time. She looked at me. Mr. Ellis. She said, but you too, when you're here. And when I'm not. I wait, she said. And sometimes I cry. Because I miss you. I hugged her. And in that moment I realized, I shouldn't fight him. I should be the one she's waiting for. A month later, I invited Mr. Ellis to dinner. Not as an enemy. As someone who helped my daughter survive my absence. Thank you for being there for her, I said. I don't want her to lose you. But I want her to know that I'm here too. Even when I'm not here. She knows that, he said. And she loves you. But love is not a finite resource. She can have 2 men she calls daddy. One for the past, the other for the present, and maybe for the future. 6 months passed. I changed jobs. Not right away. There were deals, commitments, financial implications. But now I work for a local engineering firm. The schedule is flexible. I'm home more with her. And one evening, as we were putting together a puzzle on the floor, Sophie said, Dad, I want some cocoa. Now tonight? Yes, she said. This is serious. I brought some cocoa. We sat on the couch, covered in blankets, like we did when we were kids. What do you want to talk about? About Mr. Ellis, she said. And about what I call you both. I didn't answer. I waited. I know you're my real father. She said. You were with my mother when I was born. You helped me. You paid. You came. You were my dad. And Mr. Ellis? He's my dad too, she said. But not like that. He is my dad when you are far away. When I am having a hard time. When I can't find you. But it is confusing. Not for me, she said. I understand the difference. One dad is the one who made me. Another is the one who supports me when the first one is far away. And is that normal? Yes, I said. It is more than normal. It is real. I don't want you to be mad at him, she said. He is not replacing me. He is helping me wait for you. I couldn't speak. I just hugged her. Are you mad at me? She asked. No, I said. I'm proud of you. That you learned to survive. That you found support. That you didn't give up. But I missed you, she said. And when I called him Dad, it was like be the one I miss. And now, you're here more now, she said. And I miss you less. But I still call him Dad. Because he deserves it. And that's good, I said. Because family isn't about one word. It's about who gives. And I'm glad you have 2 people you can call that. A month later, the 4 of us, me, Sophie, Mr. Ellis, and my ex-wife Claire, got together for a picnic in the park. No drama. No stress. Just sun, coffee, laughter. When Sophie ran off to play, Claire said, You've changed. Yes, I said. Not because someone made you, but because I realized that being a father is not just about paying. It's about being the one who is heard. And you? I'm here, I said. Not always physically, but emotionally, yes. And that's probably enough. It was evening when we drove home. Sophie was asleep in the back seat. I looked at her in the mirror. Dad, she whispered, half asleep. Will you always be here? Yes, I said. Even when I'm not here. I'm here. And I decided. I'm not going away for the weekend anymore. I will be there. Even when I am just silent. Even when I am listening. Even when she calls someone daddy. Because I know. She knows who I am.